Hey guys, I think we all were surprised at the results of this season of Married at First Sight, Decision Day. The fact that all four couples decided to stay together was a little shocking, I think, because we saw some really large red flags with at least two of the four couples. And the fact that they agreed to stay together, I think, caught us all by surprise. However, when by the time we get to the reunion, we see that only 50% of the couples have made it. And at this point in time, I'm wondering if those 50 are even still together because I still think that there's a lot of issues and a lot of incompatibility between them in the way that they approach life and the way that they see things. So I just want to give a quick review on what I thought about the reunion and what's going to happen next. Jasmina and Michael. All season we saw that he seemed to be more into her than she was into him. She definitely gave him it was a lot of friend zoning, right? Like she seemed to just like him as a friend. I think she liked his personality. She found him funny. They seemed to have a good time together, but there was no romance. There was no chemistry. And I was surprised on decision day that she said yes. But then when we get to the reunion, we realize they're not together. And this is my thing with Jasmina. She did not like Mike from day one, and she kept making excuses for it. She kept saying things like, oh, I don't like the way he talks to me. I don't like, the type of fights we have and the way he communicates. And then when he tried to work on his communication, she still found another issue with him. And no matter what he did, she just kept moving the goalposts because those things weren't really the issues. The issues were, or the issue was that she just wasn't attracted to him. That's it, bottom line. And while you might like him as a person, as a friend, that's not the whole point of this show. And I know they have to stay for the 8 weeks and make their decision, but don't put this man through all of these changes and make him think that he has a shot when he doesn't, because that wasn't going to change. I think Jasmine is a woman. I think she's 30. At that point in your life, you know who you're attracted to, who you're not, if the attraction is going to grow. And she just threw everything against the wall, hoping that something would stick, and it wasn't fair to him. And then at the reunion, what I really didn't like was how she said, well, he didn't romance me. He didn't give me compliments. I would give him compliments. Jasmina, stop. He was doing that in the beginning and it didn't matter. Nothing mattered. He planned romantic dates for you. He did the dancing stuff. They did the sexy yoga or whatever. He tried and he still got nothing from you. So why should this man keep pushing and pushing and pushing and basically now start to move into the area where he's sweating you? That's how it would eventually go because he's not getting, there's no reciprocity here. So now for you to go on the reunion and make it sound as if that's the reason why she couldn't move from this, friend to lover's zone is just, it's bullshit. And it's not fair to him. It's not fair to the process. I'm happy that he said what he said, that they, after decision day, he felt like he wasn't getting anything out of this outside of the idea of them being married and on paper he has a wife and all this stuff. The crux of the romantic relationship is the romance, right? I mean, you can have 1,000 friends, but you're only going to have one husband. And if he's not getting those vibes from you, then he's got to do what's best for him. And I think she's happy that he said it, so she didn't have to say it. Um, I just don't like the way that she tried to manipulate the situation and make it sound like it was on him. If he had just done something different, there would have been a different outcome because there wouldn't have been. She just didn't like him. And the host, Kevin, even said that she just wasn't that into him. There's a whole movie about it. You're just not into him, and that's okay. But don't put it on him to make it seem like there's extra things he can do to fix that. I also didn't like the fact that she was sitting so close to him on that chair. I know that there's part of the shtick to come out and have the audience guess, are they together, are they not together? I get that. But I noticed when she came out, she came and she sat first and she sat in the middle of that love seat. So he had no choice but to kind of squeeze in on the side. And that just wasn't, it felt like she was playing with him. Even the way she was like looking at him and she was like in his face and she's smiling all big, like it seemed like a little bit of a game to her. And it wasn't a game to him. You could tell he was into her. He genuinely tried. And I think she liked the fact that he liked her so much and that she had a little bit of control in the relationship because he wanted something she had and she would decide if and when she would dole it out. And I saw a little bit of that in the reunion. So I'm happy that they went their separate ways because that was not a union that was going to last. Disappointed that Katina said yes. I'm not surprised though. I'm not surprised that O said yes because Katina obviously has proven that she will do whatever she has to do to make him happy and she will bend over backwards to meet his needs. So why wouldn't he choose her? You know, he's getting everything he wants out of this and she hasn't figured out yet that her needs aren't getting met and won't be met at some point. So yeah, of course he said yes. You know, he came out with this whole new thing like I'm a different person and I saw myself on TV and I can't believe I behaved that way. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I think that Olajuwon is Olajuwon. He might have taken his foot off the pedal a little bit because he got a lot of backlash. A lot of people were very angry at him, hating on him, telling her to leave. Perhaps her family, after they saw everything, really got came down on her and said, "What the hell are you doing?" And she finally got some advice or some guidance from other people, and maybe she started to look at the whole picture and he realized, damn, you know, I this was not good, I messed up. And now he realizes he has to do something different, right? Because guys like Olajuwon, or people like Olajuwon I should say, they don't change, they just change up their approach, you know. He will now do what narcissists do. He will love bomb her, you know, vis-a-vis the ring, and he will say the right things, and he will be that guy, oh, you don't have to cook, and I'll take you out to dinner and all sorts of stuff. And he'll do that for a while until he gets you back into a comfort zone. And then so she can say, oh, this is good, he's different. Oh, I'm glad I held out. So her friends and family will be like, oh, okay, you know, he's a good guy. And then the cycle is going to continue itself. That's what they do. So I don't believe it at all. I also don't believe that he sold his house. That something about that story is sketchy to me because he was so proud of being a homeowner. So proud. He kept talking about, I own my home. I don't have any debt. So why would you sell your house to go move into an apartment? And some people on social media joke like he sold the house so he could buy her a ring. No, that didn't happen. Number one, because he wouldn't do that. He is not selfless enough to make that kind of sacrifice for a ring, nor should he sell a house to buy a ring. And I wonder about the quality of that ring because it was big. From a distance, it looked nice, but what about the four C's? I want to know more information. You know, how many carats? What's the quality of that diamond? What's the clarity like? I am not I'm not sold. Again, I think that's a love bombing technique that he uses to reel her back in. And if they're still together now, I don't know, but I don't see it lasting for a long period of time because Olajuwon will not change. And I think there will come a point in time where Katina will wake up and realize that her needs are not being met. Noy and Steve. Noy annoys the hell out of me. And I'm on the fence about her because when I see people act a certain way, my instinct is to say, like, who hurt you? You know, there's something happened in your past that makes you who you are now. And I want to give a little grace to people. She did say she grew up extremely poor. I mean, you know, in extreme poverty. She watched her parents struggle. I get that she wants financial security. Absolutely understand it. What I don't like about her, a couple of things I don't like. I don't like the way that her energy shifted. When she first met Steve, she was smitten. When they went on their honeymoon, she was all over him. She told him she loved him. You know, she felt the way that he didn't respond to her. Like, she was all the way in. Once she got the information about his employment, her energy shifted. And it seemed like it never came back. She seemed like she had a perpetual scowl on her face. Like she was always angry. She was always disappointed. And no matter what he did and how much he tried, like all the compromises, you know, in the beginning, he didn't want that dog sleeping in the bed. He made the compromise for her. He didn't want to walk her dog. He made the compromise. He was cooking. He was cleaning. When he asked her to share some of the responsibilities, she cursed at him. He did a lot. And he was still doing a lot when he bought her that ring. I mean, just his level of enthusiasm towards her. He never, I mean, he checked her when he needed to, but he never raised his voice. He was mature. I mean, Steve is just a great guy all across the board. And Noy, I don't think, and this is where I go back to who hurt you, because I think that Noy has some issues in her past that she hasn't dealt with. Some of it may be some insecurity where she doesn't believe she deserves a man like Steve, or she thinks it might be too good to be true because she's so used to the struggle that she feels like everything worth having, you have to work really hard for, you have to grind for it. And if it comes too easy, then she's suspicious. I also think that now, she started to turn around once I guess she realized that Steve has made some good investments and he's got money. He bought her that ring and everything like that. But I think she also talks out two sides of her mouth because she says that she wants, at one point she did say she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. She wanted to raise her kids. But then she wants to keep her apartment. It's like she has this thing where she wants to be taken care of. And Steve seems like a guy who could take care of her, but she doesn't feel safe in being taken care of. And so Noy has to decide, are you going to be this working woman who goes out, grinds, and works, 40 hours a week and pays half the bills, keeps your apartment on the side as a safety net? Or are you going to be a stay-at-home mom? Because if you're going to be a stay-at-home mom, you have to trust the man that you're with, because that means you won't have an income and you will have to rely on him. So that means you can't keep an apartment on the side, and you have to trust him and trust that he knows how to make money and that he'll always be able to make money. But the trust isn't there. And that goes back to what her childhood and her feeling like, you know, um, she didn't have enough growing up. And so she's in this constant state of fear that she's going to be poor again. And Steve is the perfect guy to make her comfortable, but she won't let him. She won't let him in. And I think that's what that whole her keeping her apartment on the side is about, because I think she's waiting for the other shoe to drop and afraid that one day he decides he doesn't want to be with her, she'll have nothing and she'll be back to scratch. I get it, but you went on this show, you knew you was meeting somebody you did not know, you was going to have to be in this accelerated program, so you're going to have to accelerate your trust as well. You don't have years to get to know this man, to trust his word, and to know that, he's going to do the things he says he does. And if that means so much to you, then you should probably have tried to find a husband through the traditional route, where you dated for a while and you got to know him, so that by the time he did propose and the time you guys did make these decisions about your family, you can rest assured that he is who he says he is. One other thing about Noy that I noticed, and this is very subtle, I feel like there's a level of resentment towards Steve because his upbringing was so different than hers. We saw where he grew up. I mean, yeah, he had lots of siblings and he talked about they shared rooms and stuff, but he grew up in a house where it seems like he had a full life. He had friends in the neighborhood. He was social. His family, it seemed like they were middle class. They didn't struggle. And I think she resents that her upbringing looked so different. And yes, you can resent somebody that you care about and that you love, because it's not about them, it's about you, and it's about what you think is fair. For her, I think it feels unfair that he's had it so quote unquote easy. And he may not have, but I think Steve's attitude and the way he presents in the world is that, listen, I'm happy, I'm grateful, I'm gonna live to the life to the fullest. Things may have everything, everybody has a story, right? Everybody has stuff that's happened to them in the past, but it's how you react to it that sets the tone for your personality and your disposition. And I think Steve's disposition is just one of a positive person. And I think she's still so scarred from her childhood that when she sees somebody living like that, she can't wrap her mind around it because it doesn't make sense. And I think she believes that earning money has to look a certain way. It has to look like working 50, 60 hours a week. It has to look like the commute and taking your lunch to work and manic Mondays. That's what it looks like for her, because that's probably what she saw growing up, and that's kind of what she's doing now. So to see somebody chilling, perceivably chilling, and still able to live a good life and travel and do all these things, it's not computing to her. She doesn't understand how one connects to the other. So I think that she needs some therapy. And this is not a shot at her. I just think that the way she was raised has left some scars, and she needs to get through those before she can really be a good wife to Steve and not create issues in their relationship. Because I think that's what she's doing. Right now, he's rolling with the punches, but eventually he's going to get tired of that. I'm tired of keep having to reassure you and keep having to take the brunt for things that he didn't do to you or he didn't create. Um, and yeah, so I that's my thing with Noy and Steve. Just honorable mention before I get to, Lindsey and Mark and all the fireworks. Alyssa and Chris. People were saying they didn't know why they even gave Alyssa a platform. I kind of get it. She started on the show. They wanted to kind of wrap it up with a bow, and of course, it adds to the drama. But I thought Chris did an amazing job. He was cool. He was calm. He's collected. He it looks like his life is on the upturn. I mean, he says he's dating, he's happy. I'm sure his DMs are full. He's not a bad looking guy. He's a nice guy. And he's realizing he didn't deserve this. And I think after he watched back as well and saw all the stuff that she said behind the scenes, he's truly comfortable in his decision in saying that, of cutting it short so early in the game because she was atrocious. And Alyssa, there's no growth here. There's absolutely no growth. Girl, at this stage, you need to just apologize and zip it. That's it. But she still kept making excuses for her behavior. And then when she tried to turn her anger at the judges, that was like, come on, sis. This is the 14th season. A lot of these relationships don't work out, but you can't come down on them like they sabotaged you. Again, she has no accountability. And then she's still using those phrases, I'm a good person, blah, blah, blah. She's awful. And I'm just glad that Chris is over her or done with her. All right, Lindsey and Mark. I was extremely shocked when he said yes. Well, I was shocked they both said yes. But she's abusive. She is absolutely abusive. She's dangerous. And she's unstable. And she has these delusions of grandeur. I mean, when she started talking about how she moved to San Francisco because she wants to be around engineers, she likes smart people. She's so smart. Like, I mean, when people start telling you that they're good people, that they're smart, that all these things, then that's like a red flag that they are none of those things. Because if you are, you don't have to tell people those things. But I just and this thing about she's dating and now Lindsey, you're not gonna get all these options you think you have. Well, one, because you are crazy. It comes up pretty early in the game. Mark only stuck around because y'all were on a show together and technically married. People have seen the show, so they know how dangerous you can be. And you have to attract what you are. All these things you say you want in a person, you don't seem to have those same traits. And she is too far along in her life to recognize that. If she doesn't go to therapy and do some real reflection and looking inside, she's just going to bounce from man to man, and she's going to be the old lady with the cats. That's what I predict for her because she needs some help. But the way she talked to Mark and the way she went on, she had a little letter about all the things she had done for him and talked about the Lindsey effect and how she made his life better. It was unnecessary. I believe during the show that she was keeping notes so that she could do this on the reunion, helping him with his apartment. The situation with his cat, that broke my heart because as an animal lover and somebody who has had to put down pets, that's a very, very sad moment. And she tried to hijack it. The way she came and she kept, pushing the blanket on him and she kept rubbing the cat and rubbing his arm and looking in the camera, that was about her. That was not about him in any way, shape, or form. And I think she took that moment from him. And she did it only so she could add it to her list, so she could talk about it now. How she helped him with this, and she helped him with that. But in the meantime, even if you have helped him, number one, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your spouse. And you don't keep count. You don't throw it back in somebody's face. Thank God Mark is done, and I'm glad that he's the one who pulled the trigger and got the F out of there because she's dangerous. She's absolutely dangerous. I believe that she would continue to berate him. Like he said, he's been bullied as a kid. It's the worst he's ever received. She might put her hands on him because she doesn't seem like she has any self-control. So, yeah, so that was my take on the reunion and decision day. We still have reunion part two. Interested to see what happens because it looks like from the previews it's going to be a lot of fireworks. But yeah, I thought that this season was entertaining, definitely entertaining. But I just don't think any of them were a match. I mean, the only couple I think Steve and Noy might, but I think Noy is going to sabotage because I think she's still not, she's not settled yet. But Anyway, let me know what you thought. Are you surprised about the results? Is anybody you thought, should have stayed together? You should have broken up? Let's talk about it in the comments, and I will be back next week to review the second part of the reunion. Bye.